Hi, so I'm going to present some of the Cold War items in my collection. We can start with the East German flag. These are the ones they used in the military. This came from a warehouse after the East Germany collapsed, and it slowly and steadily made its way here onto this wall to still be proudly displayed as a monument to history. And speaking of East Germany, here is a small piece of the Berlin Wall. So I'm sure you all know what the Berlin Wall is, and it's a fragment that was actually taken when it was collapsed and was broken down. Now we can continue. Well, actually, we can show this, which is a Swedish Cold War era helmet. These were used from, let's say, the 1930s up until about, I guess, the 70s, 80s, and they're quite basic, but they did the job well, and they remained in good service, and many still around today that you can buy for fairly cheap. Now to go over here, these are some Soviet Cold War items. So we can see here is officer's cap. I quite like these. They very stylish and definitely a good display item. So then here is here's a flag top. They used these on the top of the flags with when they were doing parades. Now it's a similar one, but just with the Russian eagle instead. Here we can see Lenin. It's a bust of him. It's either from the Soviet Union or Communist Poland, and it would have been used in a bigger piece, but that did not come included with it. There's the belt buckle here, which is for the Navy. That actually is World War II era, so it's a bit older. And here is a little medallion commemorating one of the rocket cruisers. They were called aircraft carrier destroyers because they had so many missiles on the side. Here we can see this is the Soviet equivalent of like the Cold War era helmet. This one actually was in a shed for a long time. I actually got it when I was in Moscow, and it's a pretty interesting piece. They actually were from World War II originally, and that's what they actually used during most of the war. But it also continued into the Cold War, and definitely in the early half of the Cold War. These were quite prominent still as a symbol of the Soviet might. Here is a early Cold War Soviet gas mask. So I'm guessing these is about 1970, and you should put them on in about under a minute, and you wouldn't be able to have a beard and stuff because it could actually obtrude the mask, and you know, I would have probably died. But you know, you can see. And when it's tight, like, you have to have this open or else you can't breathe. So it still does its job even today. Here's just a little interesting piece. My dad served in the Swedish military during the Cold War, and this is one of his that he wore here, and he was part of the Royal Guard, so protecting the Royal Palace in Stockholm. Here you can just see some like, you know, Soviet posters, not originals, but they're nice display pieces. Especially like this is a pretty it's showing an ICBM, so it's definitely a interesting 60s style poster around, you know, Cuban Missile Crisis and that era. Here we move to my desk area. So here are just a few as well East German items. This is just for socialism, like political style, which has the coat of arms of the DDR, and this is for the Grenztruppen, which are the border guards. protecting with the Berlin Wall and other parts of the country as well. Um, Mainly trying to keep people in more than them. More than others coming into their country. Um, and the East German friend of mine gave me his one of his school pins, and that has Lenin, Marx, and Engels on it. It's a silver style. Let's see. Yeah, here is a. This is from Poland, and there's also another small part of the Berlin Wall. But this is a Polish. 30 years of the foundation of the communist republic in Poland. 1944 to 1974. I believe those are the current highlights of my Cold War collection. So stay tuned, and I guess tomorrow or the next class, Miss Fatu will show you some more items. So they're coming up.